Great, so last time we coded our spikes, our health, and the simple death feature. You run over the spikes, you take down too much damage, and then you just pretend to place a death animation, and you're now completely still and unable to move. For the next part, we're actually going to code some points in. So let's do that. Okay, hop into your content drawer, and we're going to create a new actor. New blueprint class, pick actor, we're going to name this points. Double click this to open it up. And for this, we're gonna add in a sphere. So we'll pretend the spheres are collectibles that you can just find on the map. And let's see how big that actually is in the map. So let me drag in some points. That is quite massive. I do not want points that big. Let's pretend the points, or maybe not pretend, because it's actually gonna be here. Cool, there's your point. But we want to make it a lot smaller in the actor itself. So hop back into points, set a scale to like 0.3. Hop back in the map. That is, let's say 0.5. Great. We're also going to make this an emissive material. So over here, once you're clicking sphere, be sure to click the browse to basic shape material. And it's going to point you to where this texture is. So texture is essentially the color of your mesh. So we want to right click this and then duplicate, and we'll name this Emissive Green. Open that up. So now that you have this opened up, you should be able to see your texture here. So let's unplug base color, alt left click, and we want to type in a constant. Let's type in just a constant 1. And then we want to add a multiply here. So multiply. And then we actually want this constant fit into B instead of A. So alt left click that to disable it and replug it in. Plug in your default color back to this multiply. And then you want to plug in this multiply into emissive color. Delete roughness as well. We don't need that. We actually want our surface to be somewhat shiny and just to be driven by the emissive material. Let's then set this color to be, let's do green actually. And then for this constant, you want to plug in like a really high value. Let's do like 500 actually. Yeah, that's really emissive. That is very bright. 300, 100. I like the really bright stuff. So let's go 300. Great, so now you have a preview of your material here. Be sure to hit save. It's really up to you what color you want your points to be, but I just set it green for now. You can always go back and change it. Great, so now it's saved. Now you want to hop back into your points, click your sphere, and be sure to set element 0 or the material to be emissive green. And there we go, you have a really bright points on your map. That's fantastic, we love that. That is way too bright actually. I do not like how bright that is. That's like a go light on a traffic light, you know? So let's tone that down to maybe about 100. Yeah, 100 is fine. That should save, right? Oh, I haven't clicked save. It's still a green traffic light. Hit save. Give it some time to save. Great. Alt P. It's somewhat better. But that's okay. Okay. Hop back into points, and we want the player to actually be able to pass through this. So click your sphere, search for collision. We're gonna make this overlap all, so that way the player can go past it. Yep. Great. Now we want to hop into player UI, so that's gonna be this one over here. Player UI. Hop back into your designer, which is the visuals. And then we are going to actually drag this up. So shift click multiple and then just drag it up, simple as that. Then we want to add another text in. We also want to add another progress bar in. Actually no, just two text. Two text is fine. Yeah. We'll name this first one to be points and then colon space. Make that smaller. Add in another text. And for now, we'll just type in 0, 0. Make sure it's aligned. Points to 0, 0. I actually want the health down more. It's a bit too far from the points. Yeah, that should be good enough. So if we click Alt P or play, your points should be there. I actually want the entire UI to be a bit down more. So shift click, drag that, make sure to move it about there. That's okay. Yeah, I kind of like that. Cool. Next step. Next step you want to do is to hop into your points blueprints. That's going to be this one here. And let's head into event graph. We want to delete these two. As we actually want to use this event actor begin overlap here. And as usual, let's search for the player tag. So it collides with anyone named player. If you recall, we set the player tag here on the player blueprint. So tag player, so that's over here. So the game knows this person has this tag. So hop back into points. If the actor has the tag player, put in a branch which defines the condition. And what you want to do is to destroy actor. So destroy self. So if the point overlaps with a player, it destroys itself. Let's see what that looks like. Great. But the points have not updated yet. Which is going to be the next part. Hop into your player UI. Oh, sorry, not your player UI, your third person character. And we're going to make a new variable. So let's click plus and we will do points. Points float. Delete tag here in the search. And let's hit compile and save. Right now it's set to 0. And then what you want to do is head back into your player UI over here. And you want to click your text. So be sure these two are separate because we're going to bind what this says. And you only want to influence these two numbers and not any of this. So be sure to click 0, 0, your points here. And then for the text content, click bind. We're going to bind this to say a custom number depending on how many points you have. So right now it gave us this default name. Let's click over here and type in player points, case sensitive. Okay, let's delink this and we're gonna cast. So if you recall, this is what our player health looks like. The casting is trying to cast your third person character and getting its current health and plugging a return node. Let's do something similar for player points. So let's cast to third person character, get player character, if I can spell, player character 0, which is you, and we're gonna get your player's points. We're just gonna plug this into the return value. It's gonna convert the float to a text. And to be sure, these execute pins flow one into the other. So that is great. Let's actually play the game right now and let's see what happens. So your points is 0, but if you notice, it doesn't do any addition to your points yet. Next part will be if you go back to your points, which is this one, your blueprint. Let's unlink the destroy actor. We actually want to do some stuff to the code to make sure that you actually add the +1 to your character's points before you destroy the actor. Destroy actor should always kind of be last. Highly recommend. Otherwise, if you plug in any code after this, it won't play the code because technically you've already destroyed your player points. So let's just put this aside, unlink that. And from the points, you want to cast to your third person character. Cast third person character. For your object, be sure to get your player character. It's a crucial step. Otherwise, if you actually compile it without that, it might give you errors. It's trying to find an object pin. So Control Z to re-add that back in, then F7 to compile or click this. So yeah, now it's good to go. And we want to grab points. Get points. So this is like the float value that you set. Actually, we want to grab set points because we want to set the points of the player. So if you recall here, the points float that you've set. And then you want to plug this execute pin onto there and then destroy actor onto here. And from here, you want to type in an increment. Increment float means you add it by 1. Let me just clean this up a little bit. It's a bit of a mess right now. You want to make sure this flows into here. Actually, for demonstration, let's not do an increment. Let's do get points from third-person character. Oh, actually, not a bad way to do it. Yeah, from here, from your third-person character, be sure to get points. And then from here, you want to do an add, operators add, and then you want to plug this into here. Be sure to execute pins follow. So this will, and then you want to do a +1. You can set this to any number like +5. The reason why I deleted the increment before was increment is always +1. But for demonstration purposes, if you want to do like a +5 to your points, you can do that as well. So for now, let's just do +1. Pretty much what this is doing is, so if like your points overlaps with anyone named player, it continues and then it tries to communicate to your third-person character. And once it's communicated to that, it's trying to grab how many points you have and adding +1 to your points counter, and it's setting that points. And after it's done its points calculation, it's going to destroy the points itself. So let's try that in action. Alt-P or play. If we walk over, we should get +1 right there, points 1, and then it destroyed itself. You can also set this to be like +5. Let's see how that works out. +5. Great. Let's duplicate some of the points on the map. Control D to duplicate. Maybe one over here. Maybe we want one right here. Maybe 2. And maybe 1 on the ramp. Great. Click Alt Play, and you got a bunch of these points you need to collect on the map. You can jump over the spikes, collect these points. Points 1, 2. Oh, I fell. And let's try that again. Points 2, 3, 4. Jump over the spikes. Go to your ramp. Points 5. Great. So congratulations, you've coded a points feature, point collection system that is hooked to the UI. Pretty excited. And I'll see you next time. Be sure